evening and welcome to the Press Box. My name is Melissa Ponzio, and for the next 30 minutes, I'll be your host for Atlanta's newest sports talk show. With me, as always, Jim and Ty. How you doing?
Oh,
Happy as a weekend.
Yes.
Last show for a while.
Last show, yeah. I need to mention that tonight is our last show until September 18th, I believe, is the date. And tonight's special guest will be Willie, Lummus, and Patrick Pass to talk about the Georgia Youth Football Program. But first, the whole beginning of the show is dedicated to the preseason football picks, and we're going to start off with the NFC East.
Well, the NFC East, we're starting with the toughest and best. We have Washington over there, Dallas, Philadelphia, New York, and Phoenix.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go kind of off the board here. I think Philadelphia is going to rise to the top. That's all based on if Randall Cunningham can come back to even 90% of what he was in the past, but it's really the toughest division around. But I think the Eagles might surprise us all.
Okay.
Well, you're right, Jim. It's a great division. It's so tempting to pick either the football Giants or Dallas, but I'm going with the reliable Washington. Call me boring, but that's the best football
Plain vanilla
team.
tie.
You got it.
Okay, how about Central?
The Central, I think, you got two teams there I think really to look at, and that's Detroit and Chicago. And I just say it's near a coin toss, and I think I have to give the Barry Sanders factor and have to go with Detroit on that.
Well, I'll give it the Mike Ditka factor. Those guys don't play ball. He's liable to kill some of them. So I think the Bears going to rebound and have a better season this year.
Okay, last but not least, the West.
I want to go with the Falcons there. I think New Orleans is also a good team, but I think the late season slide they had is a little more indicative of the way they're going to play this year. And I think San Francisco, it doesn't look like Joe Montana is going to be a force anymore. And I have to give the nod to the Falcons, even though they might lose a few Pro Bowl quality players. And Brian Jordan was Pro Bowl quality, whether he made it or not. And Deion Sanders might not be around for a while, and no telling with Andre Rison. But
I'm going to go with the Saints. I'm a traditional football fan. Defense and kicking wins football games, and I really like the Saints' defense. And Morton Anderson's a great place kicker, so I'll take them.
Okay, let's move on to the AFC East.
Well, I think Buffalo's is going to have to be the choice over there in the East. Miami's a pretty decent team. They helped themselves out in the draft a little bit, but I think Buffalo with Kelly and Thurman Thomas is going to be the team to beat.
The only team that can beat Buffalo in that division is Buffalo. I'm going to take the Bills. I think that's an easy choice.
Okay, Central.
It's
going awfully fast, but
Yeah.
go ahead.
In the Central, I like Houston, I believe. Warren Moon, still a pretty good core of receivers. It's a solid team. It's actually, I think, probably the weakest division in football right now, but I still have to probably go with Houston in there.
I take Houston and Warren Moon by default.
Cleveland's a pretty good team.
I don't like that division. I don't think it's very good. I agree with you, Jim. Houston, I think, will win that one.
What about Cincinnati?
Oh, boy, did they have a terrible time last year. I mean, they just lost game after game, and the emphasis wasn't, is Cincinnati ever going to win a game? It became, is Sam White's going to keep his job? And that team just, that was a lot of turmoil last year, and there was a lot of talent on that club, but I still, I don't believe it until I see it when I see them win some football games.
Okay. How about the West?
I think Kansas City is I think the easy pick in that division. They've got just tremendous, three great backs, and they're going to be, I think, the team to beat in the overall in the AFC.
I like Kansas City. The main reason I like them is Marty Schottenheimer. That's a good football coach, and they are going to win a lot of football games out there. Kansas City is my pick, Jim.
Okay.
So we agree on all three AFC teams, and we disagree on all three NFC teams.
What about the Raiders with Eric Dickerson?
Well, Raiders are going to have to be able to pass the ball. I mean, they've had great running backs there. You've had Marcus Allen, Bo Jackson, and players like that, and here's Eric Dickerson. I think he has an attitude, and I don't know if that's going to help that club any. They need to they got great receivers out there like Tim Brown, and they need to be able to get the ball to them.
Yeah, I see L.A. being probably, I think, the third best team in that division. I think if there's anybody going to challenge Kansas City is going to have to rest on John Elway's arm.
Okay. Well, we have a phone call. Hi, caller. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes.
Let me turn down this TV.
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to disagree with the guy on the right. The far right?
Yeah.
The one with the glasses.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry, I don't know your name, but
Ty Reynolds.
Tyra.
Okay.
I don't think a coach makes a football team. It's the players.
The coach makes a lot of difference.
No,
Cleveland had a solid team in the NFC Central, and when Marty Schottenheimer was there, and then when he left, Cleveland really struggled
lack
when
of
he
youth.
left.
Lack of youth. Bunch of old vets.
Well,
Sorry quarterback who
no.
throws it into the defensive line.
Isn't it funny how Kansas City struggled, and then Schottenheimer comes over there, and they're winning football games?
Well, it's not funny, but you're a real shithead.
Oh, well. For any
Because
of
he
you
knew
that
he
have
was wrong.
right, well, any of you have intelligent comments or questions, you can call us at 873-6713. And now we are going to go move on to college SEC.
Well, in the SEC, I like Florida. That, to me, is hands down the strongest team. They have 5 starters coming back on offense and 7 on defense. And they're losing all their offensive linemen, but their defense is good enough to keep them in a lot of football games. And Steve Spurrier down there in Florida, if he's crying about offensive linemen, he shouldn't be, because he's got so many stock down there that he's going to have plenty of people to play for them. So I like Florida. On the other side, Alabama is going to win over there. I think the only competition they're going to get is from Mississippi State. And Alabama has to play at Mississippi State. But Alabama's a good club. I think they're going to win the West.
How about them dogs?
Well, Georgia is going to have to. They're going to have to find some defense, and Ray Goff's going to have to be able to find some defensive linemen. And they've had problems keeping defensive linemen at Georgia. Georgia, to me, I think they're in trouble until they establish themselves to where they can stop the other team and get the ball in the hands of Zaire and Hastings and Hurst and those people. Because if they do that, Georgia will be a force, but that's a big if. And right now, I don't think they can do it.
Okay, we have another phone call. Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask if you people feel like Shane Matthews of Florida has a legitimate shot at the Heisman Trophy.
Sure he does. They have great receivers down there. Florida is a solid ball club, and they're going to be on TV a lot. Florida's got a lot of things going for them. Shane Matthews put up impressive numbers last year, and he has as good a chance as anybody to win the Heisman Trophy. I think that maybe one of the things that might keep him from doing that is an injury, but that's about it.
Do you expect their offensive line to be weaker this year because of the seniors they lost last year?
Well, it'll be weaker without a doubt, but what team isn't weaker when you lose all your offensive linemen? They've had great recruiting years, and there's a ton of talent down in the state of Florida. They're going to win a lot of football games. I think Florida's going to win 10 games minimum.
Okay. Thank you for calling.
Thank you.
Let's move on to the ACC.
ACC, I think it's going to be a battle with Clemson and Florida State, and I simply think Florida State's going to win.
Okay.
Even though, they have 5 starters coming back on offense, 6 on defense. They have very talented players down there. Florida State can score points. They've got a great middle linebacker, Marvin Jones, who may be the best linebacker in the country. They're going to dominate that league. Some of the Atlanta writers have said some of the other teams like Tech, Virginia, North Carolina, and State will be playing for 3rd place in the next 20 years. But Clemson and Florida State, they're head and shoulders above the rest of the teams in that league.
Okay, are we agreeing?
I'm agreeing with Florida State. I think Tech's got more of a chance for that 2nd slot, but I guess that remains to be seen.
Right.
I think Sean Jones. It all depends also on the new coach, how this works out. But I think Tech might surprise some people and challenge for the number 2 spot anyway.
Well, they lost Coleman and Clay, and I think that those are 2 really good football players that they lost. So If they can find some people that are suitable substitutes for them, then yeah, he could challenge. They could surprise people.
Okay, let's move on to the Big East.
Big East. Wow, you got a great club up there in Miami. Miami is awesome. They have something like 15 starters coming back.
Wow.
8 on offense, 7 on defense. They've got so much speed at wide receiver. This Miami club is great. They're going to definitely contend for the national title. The only thing that concerns me about Miami is that in the middle of their schedule, they have a home game against Florida State. They haven't lost at home in the Orange Bowl since 1985 when they lost to Melissa's Florida team here.
Mm-hmm.
But they're really tough at home. But they had a game with Florida State at home, and then they have to go up to Penn State the following week. Recently, well, in the past, when they were an independent, they were able to set their schedule a little more appropriately to where they could put some of the softies in between the tough games. But you can't do that now that you're in a conference.
What about Syracuse?
Syracuse is another team that's loaded. They got 15 starters coming back also. I think 9 on offense, 6 on defense. That is a tough club, and that is going to be a great game when Miami has to travel up there late in November to that Carrier Dome where there's so much noise inside. There are so many audibles that are called by Miami and many teams that come in there that really struggle. Perfect example last year was Florida. Florida went up there and got behind early and really struggled after that.
Do you think Miami's kind of like the Brett Saberhagen of college football? Every other year they have a great year followed up by what's, they're predicted right up there for the national championship, and then they kind of lay back on the even years.
Well,
it's kind of like how Saberhagen is for
well, I could agree with that.
Baseball
last
example.
year they had a great year, and they share a national championship. And this year, I think they're going to stumble at one of those 2 games in the middle of the year, and so they're just going to have to settle for that sorry 11-1 season.
Okay, let's move on to the Big Ten.
Big Ten, you got to talk Michigan. They've got about 14 starters coming back, 8 on offense, 6 on defense. And this is a club that scored 35 points a game, racked up well over 400 yards a game, and has 8 starters coming back. Michigan's going to score a lot of points. And this is another team that can contend for a national title. They have a game with Notre Dame early. If they somehow pull that game off, it's almost smooth sailing from there on.
Which they never do.
Well, no, they have not beaten Notre Dame very often. Okay. And personally, I think Notre Dame's going to win that game. It's at South Bend. I don't see Michigan beating them 2 years in a row.
When does Penn State join the Big Ten?
Penn State's going to join next year.
Okay.
Penn State's another team that can contend. That's another team that's loaded. 7 coming back on offense, 7 coming back on defense. They averaged about 36 points last year and 424 yards a game. And Joe Paterno is always loaded with linemen and talented skill players. They'll definitely contend. Key games for Penn State, they have that game with Miami at home, and they have to travel to South Bend to play Notre Dame. And if they beat Notre Dame this year, they will have beaten them 3 years in a row. That's going to be a tough game for them to win.
Okay. Quick pick, national champion.
Notre Dame, without a doubt.
I have to go with Notre Dame also.
You guys agree.
The schedule works in their favor a little bit better. I like Miami. I think they're an awesome team. I think they're going to stumble with one of those 2 games. Texas A&M could easily contend. They do not have a tough out-of-conference schedule. But this Notre Dame club has 10 people coming back on defense and 6 coming back on offense. With Rick Meyer, they're going to score points. There's no doubt about it. And with the defense, they had injuries last year, and they didn't have that much of a pass rush, and they still won a lot of football games. So I think Notre Dame will be able to win the tough games. I think they'll be able to beat Michigan. I think they'll beat Penn State. And I think they'll win out at the Coliseum against USC and win their bowl game.
What about Washington?
Washington's loaded also. That is another team that can contend. I forgot about them.
Okay, then.
For a second, I forgot about them. I was thinking about them today. They have about 11 starters coming back. Mm-hmm. But I think Washington's going to feel the loss of their big defensive lineman, Entman. Mm-hmm. And it remains to be seen. It's awfully hard to go undefeated 2 years in a row.
Okay.
So that just remains to be seen. Their schedule really favors them a lot.
Okay. Well, that's our picks for now. we come back, we'll have to see how all our teams are doing, right?
Right.
Okay, well, now we're going to go on to our tape, which is Steve Marcos at Fitzgerald Park with the Tucker Lions, and we'll be back with our special guests, Patrick Pass and Willie Lummus.
There's Steve Marcos with the press box. We're out here at Fitzgerald Field with the Tucker Lions in the dugout here because they got a little rain delay. This is the Georgia Youth Football Program. I'm talking to a few of the players here, and we got number 4 here. What's your name?
Demetrius Smith.
Demetrius. All right. Why do you play here instead of high school?
Because the high school I go to ain't that good.
What high school you go to?
Avondale.
Avondale. They're not that good this year, huh? I hear the coach back there saying they got better coaching here. Is that true?
Yeah.
What about competition-wise?
It's better.
Better competition here?
Yeah, it's way better.
All right, and you have been on the team for 3 years now?
Yeah.
And y'all have won 2 state championships. Were you on the team that won the was it the national championship? Did you play on that one? He was?
1 year. That was 1 year, right?
Yeah. All righty. Anybody else here from the national championship team? 2 years? You don't want to be on TV? All right, we're here with Coach Reach. Coach, how long you been here now?
I've been on and off coaching for about 8 years at Tucker.
8 years at Tucker, and you played some college ball also, huh?
Yes, very little.
Where'd you play at now?
Troy State University, South Alabama.
How many games you get in there?
Not too many.
Not too many. All right, you're a big fan of the league here. How come? Or
Well,
the association?
I believe Georgia youth football is the best football in the United States.
Why do you say that?
Well, for one reason, Georgia high school ball is the top between Florida, Texas, California, and Georgia have the top football, and our youth program is like no other.
Eventually, now when they get into 12th grade and all that, they got to play high school.
Definitely.
This doesn't go that high.
This is just a step in that direction. We try to get them ready for bigger and better things in
So
football.
a lot of kids that play here are going to do well in high
Definitely.
school?
We've got a 9th grade boy going into the 9th grade. It's going to be starting both ways at Tucker High School. He's a super kid that was on our team last year.
What was his name?
His name was Patrick Pass. I've got a couple boys at Clarkston High School that are the starting wing backs and defensive backs. All these boys, running backs, they've all played for us through the program.
And you were here with a national championship team that they
Yes,
had here?
we've had 2 national championships in the last 4 years, 4 state championships. And all the teams that we play, such as Midway, North DeKalb, Riverdale, are fine programs. It's a fine organization.
All right. Well, thanks for talking with us, Coach.
All right.
Guess y'all are going to practice. The rain.
Yeah, come check us out.
Rain sweep over. We'll get some shots of that. And
Down. Hey. Good conformity. Your head was this low, Demetrius. Emmanuel was this low. Hard to see the ball. That's what we want. Next group. 34 pop. On Hut. You're the trail pitch man, Tyrone. Quick now, out of a gun. Shot out of a gun. Down. Hey. Not bad, not bad. All right. Other way. By himself.
I'm used to something where you just pay money and get on a team. Is this different than that, or is it?
This is different. You try out and make this team. It's we had about 45 kids to 50 kids sign up, and we've got about 18 out here right now.
What happened to the ones that don't make it?
They play on a metro team.
That's where you just pay your money and you just get on. No cuts. You just play.
Exactly.
Like Little
Everyone
League
has to see.
baseball,
And
kinda
this
like.
in our football here, if these kids want to play with us, they understand that they might not play one down all year. It's sad, and we always usually play everybody, but it's not one of those leagues where you have to play the kid. They know beforehand they might not play a lot. If it's a big game or it's 7-0 or 0-0, they probably won't play. And this is what they sacrifice. Some of these little kids here that are first year up here, it's going to be tough for them to play.
Why would they want to do that?
It's just they know it's better. They'd rather play here. I think B team games now. What do they play? 6 games a year on Saturday mornings. 6 games a year. Most B team coaches, are good coaches, but they don't have a real full staff. Look at our big boy. He's got to lose 10 pounds to play. He's 150 right now. He's got 10 to lose in order to play.
How long has he got to do that?
3rd week of the season is official weigh-in. He won't be able to play a game overweight, and then the 3rd week of the season is official weigh-in. If he doesn't make the 140-pound weigh-in, then he doesn't play. And you know where he lives? McDonough. You tell me that we don't have a good program, someone coming from McDonough to play with us.
Why don't they just play 150-pound in the next class?
There's not a next class. This is it.
it.
This is the biggest youth football there is.
Now, how old can you be?
You can be 15 years old as of June 1st, or I think the deadline is August 1st. You can be 15 years old. If you turn 16 August 2nd, you still can play in this league as an older lighter. You know, that's like I'll show you my old number 1 is 15. He can't weigh but 125. 13 or 14-year-olds can weigh 140. It's really a good rule. Let's go, linebackers. Get ready, linebackers. Let's have some eyes.
On hood. Now. Hut. That boy, Cornell.
Way to go, man. Way to play. Hey, man, let's hear it. We see something good. Let's hear it, guys.
Joe, hustle back.
The Lions, man.
Let's go, next two.
It's an honor to play on this team.
On hunt.
All right, that about wraps it up here from Fitzgerald Field. I'd like to thank Coach Joey Reach for talking with us, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, we're back with our special guests now, Willie Lummus and Patrick Pass. How you doing, guys?
Fine.
Okay, on that tape, you said something about a weight rule. Was that for the age limit or something? Can you?
Right. We have, in our league, we have, in our particular weight classes, 13, 14-year-olds, and they weigh 140 pounds. We have some kids that are 15 that are allowed to play in the league as 15-year-olds, but they have to weigh 15 pounds less, which puts them at 125. It gives the kid a chance to play ball that may not be able to play in high school. That's too small, and it's a variance there to let them play. So it works out good for the the smaller kids that may not play in high school.
I see.
They have different weight classes though. I mean, is there?
Right. We have 4 weight classes in what we call Division I, and they are 90, 105, 120, and 140.
Patrick, you're playing ball this year in high school now, right?
Yeah.
Where are you playing?
Where?
Mm-hmm.
At Tucker High School.
Tucker High School. What position are you playing?
Cornerback.
Cornerback. And you play just cornerback? Are you going to play some other positions?
Probably second string tailback.
Sounds good.
Is that what you played in this youth league?
I played first string tailback.
How long did you play with the league?
3 years at Tucker Lions and 3 years at Central Cal.
Wow, so a total of 6 years?
Yes.
So you've been playing for a long time. Wow. Did it really help you prepare for the high school?
Yes.
Yeah.
Playing 135.
Yeah. How long have you been coaching?
I've been involved for 9 years. This
9
is my 9th season. I'm coaching the same age and weight classes.
Did you play Georgia Youth yourself?
Yeah, I participated as a kid and played numerous years there and been involved over half my life with Georgia Youth football. It's been fun.
You know, one of the major emphasis in school nowadays are grades. There's this no pass, no play rule. Do y'all put any emphasis on that in your league, Willie?
Yeah, we do that. We're not ineligible to participate if they don't make the grades in our program, but we emphasize that by going and checking the progress reports and checking with the teachers and so forth. And I got a lot of contacts that we keep up with the kids and stay on top of them. Some of them are good students. You don't have to worry about others. You really got to stay on top of and try to help them on through because most of them are, giving them a chance to, get on into high school and play.
Oh, okay. Well, we have a phone call. Hi, caller. You're on the air. Well, maybe not. Okay. Well, I've heard that the South Georgia teams are a much better team. Is that due to the youth programs?
No, I think in South Georgia what they do, they have where they participate in middle school ball and even start up in the 5th and 6th grades and build their programs up through that. Whereas we have a community type teams in our area, and most of the kids stay at that within their high school region. We may have 1 or 2 high schools that we feed from our program into the high school. Whereas down there they might have 1 school in the whole county, and all the kids are brought up throughout the years doing the same basic things. Whereas where we're at, it's different coaches and different philosophies, and it makes it a little bit tougher once they go into the high school. So the matriculation factor is great in our league compared to that in South Georgia where they're all together.
Do you go out? I'm sorry. Do you go out and recruit kids for your league?
We do. We're in competition with a lot of the junior highs.
Really?
There's some other programs that are involved that play in different conferences and so forth. And there's several different youth organizations in the Metro Atlanta area. And once we've established contact with the kid, we try to keep them in our program and then push them on into high school, whatever school they might go to. So there's definitely some competition there, and it's it's pretty tough to get some kids sometimes. We lost a couple this year, matter of fact, to the high school. So,
What type of program is the Georgia Youth, and specifically Tucker? Is it one of the better programs?
Yeah, Georgia Youth is the strongest conference probably in the United States in our age and weight, which is what we go by. We've had several national champions over the past 10 years playing both Pop Warner and the NYSCA, which is another affiliated youth program that has a national championship. We've had several teams over the past, like I said, 10 years win, and we won in 1990 at our age level down in Daytona and won the national championship down there. And back in '84, they won a Pop Warner national championship at the 120-pound level.
Did you play on that team, Patrick, the national championship team?
No.
Were you like a one weight class below it or something? What was that one?
Yeah,
team?
Patrick's team that year, he was as a 12-year-old, he played in the younger weight division, and their team played in the same tournament we did, but at their age and weight level. And they didn't win. Last season we ran into a buzzsaw down there. We call them the Miami Hurricanes Junior Varsity, and they kind of put it on us. But we had won 43 games in a row up until that point, and we kind of played the team a little bit out of our league. And we hung in there. We had a chance. If I'd have got the ball in his hands a couple more times, we might have could have won. But that was my fault. And, I'll take the blame for that. So.
How many games do y'all play? I guess don't 8th grade teams play only about 4 or 5
most
games?
Most of the county schools, which we're affiliated with DeKalb County, most of them play 6 ball games at the 8th and 9th grade level, and then 7 at the JV. Whereas we play maximum up to 15 games, and that's including the championship, which we plan to get into every year. So we usually get in at least 13, 14, and maximum of 15 ball games per season. So we get about twice as much as the high school.
Going back to this recruiting business, Patrick, did they recruit you, or were there other leagues that wanted you?
Yeah.
How did they go about recruiting you? I mean, were you just like playing one day and someone came up and said, "Hey, would you like to come and play football for us?"
Something like that.
Yeah.
I guess you said you're over at Central DeKalb. That's like a competing ballpark with Tucker. And then, were you out there seeing him play?
We coached at Central DeKalb, and Patrick had participated as an 8-year-old back with us. And,
8-year-old?
When he played, well, not on our team,
Oh,
but
okay.
back in the younger program then, and we kind of kept an eye on him then. And Coach, he played for 1 year, wanted to play him at tight end, and I said, Ken, you need to put that boy at tailback, and the rest was history after that. So he's had an extremely good year last year, rushed for almost 2,000 yards.
In 15
Wow.
games?
15 ball games and 40 touchdowns. So, and also averaged about 50 yards a punt, which is unheard of. He will be the starting punter on the varsity this year as a 9th grader. So that's a great accomplishment to step out of a youth league to be able to do that.
Wow, that's great. That really is great. When you were mentioning all these trips that you were going on to for the championships and stuff, who funds the trips?
Well, in that, a lot of it we have fundraising programs where
Do you?
you'll sell donuts or have car washes or all the stuff that goes with youth sports. And this year we're going to plan on having a golf tournament to raise some money. And that way, when it goes, because we can fund some of the kids that maybe not can afford to go on their own.
That's great. Well, I'd like to thank Patrick and Willie and Ty and Jim for coming on our last show. For the viewing audience at home, we'll be back September 18th, and I'd also like to thank everyone here that's been here for the past 13 weeks, giving it their all. We couldn't have done it without you. Guess I'll see you guys the 18th. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.